soccer games, kiddie soccer games are having to hire security. It's pitiful, but that's where we are. So that's what we're trying to do today, is just to give you a heads up tonight, and we've got two great instructors. We had a group, we did this at TJC a month ago, and we had over 250 people there, and Sergeant Coslin told me that there were 380 chairs here, and there's not many empty ones, so I think we've matched that tonight. Our two instructors are two great guys. I worked with Justin. He's going to be the one that carries or talks about the open carry. Justin, but and I'm not going to yet, all right? But anyway, but Justin's a great guy, great instructor, and very knowledgeable in open carry. And I'm going to go ahead and he's going to do the first part. Sergeant Coslin is one of our patrol sergeants. He's going to handle the active shooter side of it, what to do, what you can expect from us. And Justin Grimes, because he's kind of got the boring log, and Coslin's got the exciting part. But Daryl is one of our patrol sergeants now. He hasn't been with us very long, but he's got 30 years experience with Dallas PD. Was on their SWAT team, one of their trainers, supervisor, and I'm probably leaving a lot out, but that's okay. And anyway, so they're two very knowledgeable guys, and I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. I promise you one thing, the guys will not leave tonight until your questions are answered, okay? We're going to try to get you out, even if you don't get your question answered during the session. They're going to be hanging out, and we'll be here for you too as we're dismissed, okay? But like the sheriff said, try to hold it down so we can kind of speed through it and get on there. Turn it over to Jessica Stockwell now.
One thing, Sergeant Middleton Fedora. I did make sure that got put in there. We're going to talk about open carry tonight. Some of y'all have already come to the class previously. This is the same course that I taught during our legal updates to our own deputies. There's some stuff I've added to the end of it. When I spoke with the DA's office, I got with them, got some input from what they had to say from their side of it, and we'll go over that here in a minute. When he was talking about questions, last time we kind of got a little bit derailed. If you don't have a question that pertains to the slide that I'm currently on, please hold that question till either the break or after we get done teaching the class today. If you have a question, and I may have not answered it quite yet, hold on to it. I may cover it in the slide later on. Okay. We're going to talk about signage for businesses. We're going to talk about colleges and campuses. We're going to talk about civil liability, governmental meeting places. When I talk about civil liability, the liability that you're expected on your behalf if you carry open carry or concealed carry. All right? We're going to get right into it. How many think this is what you're going to see first day of open carry? Or maybe you got somebody walking around with an AR, walking around to Target or Walmart. Maybe this is your grandmother or your wife buying bread. Maybe we just want to go get some coffee. Or this will be what you're going to see. This is Governor Abbott. This is him signing in to open carry. So who is law enforcement going to be dealing with? Is it going to be this guy? Are you going to be this guy? I hope not. This gentleman's important. He's an advocate for open carry, for constitutional carry, and the reason being, he has a Class B misdemeanor. He has several of them, and I'll cover that here in just a second. So when they decided, are we going to open carry or are we going to constitutional carry? What are we going to do? The big debate was constitutional carry believed that the Second Amendment gave a right to carry firearms, including felons, anybody with a Class A or Class B misdemeanor, and you didn't need governmental approval. So basically, you didn't need a license to carry. Well, some other people are like, hang on, open carry, we still believe in the Second Amendment right, but we don't want felons, anybody with a Class A or Class B misdemeanor to be open carry or concealed carry, and you got to have a license to do it. So now you understand why that gentleman was advocating constitutional carry. From now on, there's no more CHL, it's just going to be handgun license. House Bill 910 was a 42-page bill that they put together. And And the problem was they hurried up and passed it, but they didn't clarify some gray areas. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't have all the answers that you're gonna be asking me. There's some, like I said, there's some gray areas. They're waiting on the Attorney General's opinion to come down. And if he doesn't address it, maybe the Court of Criminal Appeals will. And if they don't address it, then we're just gonna have to wait another 2 years till the legislative session comes in and makes new rules. Hopefully they'll clarify some stuff. But House Bill 910 basically authorizes a person licensed to carry a handgun to open carry a holstered handgun now. Okay? All it did just said you can now open carry. That's what that bill said. Senate Bill, State Bill 11, they made some changes too, and we'll go over that also. The basic rule, if it was illegal to do with a concealed handgun license, it's still illegal to do with an open carry license. If it was legal to do with your concealed handgun license, it's legal to do with your open carry license. I need to go in and add a slide, and what it should say is, all the same rules that apply to concealed handgun carry will apply to open carry. Some things you need to remember, long guns are your AR rifles, shotguns, bolt-action rifles. Those have always been legal to carry in Texas without a license. That's what those people were doing in the Target photograph that y'all saw. Concealed handgun license, whenever it's time to be renewed, the state will automatically renew it to say handgun license. You don't have to pay any. The state is going to do that all for you. Does everybody understand? If you notice here, it has your handgun license number, driver's license, date of birth, address, all your identifying information. That's going to be important later on in the slide. Conduct, AR, or other in a manner calculated to alarm me. There's not a set definition. One person over there can have a different definition than the gentleman over here. So if you're at the gas station talking with your friend, and you're like, hey, look what I got. And he's far off, it might look like you're drawing down on somebody, correct? Or if you're just sitting there talking with somebody and you're an open carry and you're like, hey, what's going on? From a distance, it looks like I'm about to TA are concealed, and now you have the 6, which is the currents and signage that you see out front. It's a Class C misdemeanor offense. Now it's punishable by a fine not to exceed $200 for a penalty for these trespassing offenses that the person has signage and the business owner or somebody that works for that business says, hey, we want you to leave because you have your gun, you need to leave. All right? There's different ways of going about doing that. And I'll explain it here after the next one. This is a example of signage. You'll notice it has a 30-06 and it has the word concealed on there. Notice it's in contrasting colors from the background. It's in English and in Spanish. Just another example of another 30-06 sign. Now 30-07, it's the same law as 30-06, but instead of for concealed carry, this will prohibit open carry in a business. It's the same exact thing. I don't know why they said, hey, we'll just make one signage and combine both of them. But politicians, they made it hard, so we have 2 different signage now. This new law permits property owners prohibit open carry, concealed carry, or both from their premise. If a person receives notice that the owner of the property or someone with apparent authority to act for the owner provides notice to the this goes back to the verbal notice that if you do, we're going to end up being called. We're going to ask you to leave the business if you've been verbally told to leave. Now, we are going to go back and tell the business owner to prevent any front of their business. Like the business has done you wrong if you feel that's what you need to do. Again, this right signage, English, Spanish, contrary to both types of carry. Right? An exception openly carries a handgun license holders per 03 or 46.03 license holder. So basically, if you want concealed carry and prohibit carrying your need to have unlawful carrying of a weapon, subsection A1, 1, it's meant to allow for the holstered open carry inside a motor vehicle or watercraft of a handgun if the person is licensed to carry the gun. If a person is not licensed to carry the weapon, it must be concealed as before. Places weapons prohibited. House Bill 554 amends the penal code to establish a defense to prosecution if The offense of possessing or carrying a concealed weapon in or into the secured area of an airport, if the actor possessed at the screening checkpoint a concealed handgun, the actor is licensed to carry. So if you go into an airport and you accidentally have your gun in there, this is what we're talking about. And exit the checkpoint immediately on completion of the screening process, a notification the actor possessed a handgun. So once you've been asked to leave, and you automatically leave, say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go put it out in my car, no harm, no foul.
It's very Switzerland law.
A peace officer is prohibited from arresting an actor for an offense unless an officer advises the actor of this defense to prosecution and gives the actor an opportunity to exit the checkpoint on completion of the screening process. Sir, you need to leave, you're in the airport, can you take that out to your car? No. It's my God-given right, I can carry my gun. Well, guess what? It's your God-given right to go to jail too. All right? That's what they're talking about. If you've been asked, common sense, take it out to the car so you don't get in trouble. Subsection B has been updated to make illegal the carrying of a handgun in a holster or shoulder holster at or in the same place previously prohibited under 46035, such as bars, schools, correctional facilities, hospital, churches, nursing home, amusement parks that don't have the 30-06 signage. I've had a lot of people come up, well, my church is, we're thinking about allowing a certain type of carry in their church. The churches, some of the members that I've talked to that already do this, they don't let the pastor vote, they let the deacons vote on whether or not someone can, or if the church will allow one type of carry or not. But they also have, and everybody knows who has what type of carry that's there. If this is your church, you need to talk with the deacons or whoever's in charge of your church, or in charge of the body. That way, y'all can all figure this out. Just remember, if it's illegal to carry with a CHL, it's still illegal to carry with open carry. Government code and penal code to prohibit a state agency or political subdivision from wrongfully posting notice excluding a concealed handgun. A license holder commits an offense if the license holder intentionally, knowingly, recklessly carries a handgun under the authority of subchapter H, chapter 411 Government Code, regardless of whether the handgun is concealed in the room or rooms where a meeting of a governmental entity is held. So if the meeting is an open meeting subject to chapter 5. Number 2 says that the meeting has been one that is subject to where there had. What the law does not change is the prohibiting on carrying firearms into a courthouse or courtroom. Those actions continue to be illegal, and this change seems to be directed more towards, for example, the meeting of a water board or a council of governments committee. Now, House Bill 910, which goes into effect January, says something else. States a license holder commits an offense if the license holder intentionally, knowingly, recklessly carries a handgun under the authority of subchapter H, chapter 411, Government Code, regardless of whether the handgun is concealed or carried in a shoulder or belt holster at any meeting of a governmental entity. So, anybody see where the problem might lie between the two bills? We have a gray area that I was talking about earlier. They've gone to the Attorney General to ask for an opinion. They haven't got one yet. If you're not sure, you can contact whoever's putting on that meeting, contact them, see what they had to say. If you're still unsure, the best thing to do is just leave it in the car. Or don't even bring it at all if you don't feel safe leaving it in your car. Campus carry. We're going to notice regular college. When I say regular college, we're talking about public and private universities. This law goes into effect August 1st, 2016. Now, why they waited a year to do junior college, I don't know. Maybe they think people that went to junior college are a little bit slower. But you got somebody from TJC teaching you this class, so go figure. Senate Bill 11 deals with carrying licensed handguns on college campuses. To deal with the issue of handguns on campus or passenger train. Okay. Privilege is limited to concealed handguns on college campuses, even open carry on any college campus whatsoever in the future. The only type of carry that will be allowed will be concealed carry. Senate Bill universities a list of places where a person with a handgun license is related to carrying a weapon, especially or wholly registered on or about his person under the authority of subchapter H, chapter 411 Government Code. Takes or displays a handgun in plain view of another person on the premises of an institution of higher education or private or independent institution of higher education, or on any public, private driveway, street, sidewalk, walkway, parking lot, parking garage, or other parking area of an institution of higher education or private or independent institution of higher education. Huh?
Yeah.
Alright. And we're gonna break it down for you here in just a minute, okay? According to new subsection A2, a person with a handgun license commits a Class A misdemeanor offense if he carries a handgun anywhere on a private or independent college, university that has enacted rules prohibiting such possession as given notice under Penal Code 30-6. So what this says, places like Baylor, there's no open carry, there's no concealed carry in certain areas of a public college or university if the entity has made the determination and passed rules about such as provided notice under Penal Code 30-6 with respect to the college's rules. You can conceal carry on their campus, but they're going to designate where you can conceal carry at. Is everybody kind of tracking on what we're doing here? All right. Again, private university, there's no open, no concealed carry. Public university, there's only concealed carry. They're going to designate where you can and can't carry that weapon. Public, private, or independent institutions of higher education are authorized to establish regulatory provisions concerning the storage of handguns in dormitories or other residential facilities that are owned or leased and operated by the institution located on the institution's campuses. Basically, if your child lives on campus, they're going to make rules whether or not they can carry it in their dorm or not. 411.2031, it's a new statute carrying of handguns by a license holder on certain campuses. Private or independent institution may prohibit license holders from carrying handguns on its campus, any grounds or buildings on which a university-sponsored activity is being permitted, and put it in a different bill. The president of, or other chief executive officer of a public institution of higher education, after appropriate consultation, is required to establish, quote, reasonable regulatory provisions, unquote, regarding carrying concealed handguns by license holders on the campus of the institution or premise located on the campus. They can't just say, yeah, I thought about it, I'm not going to do it. That's what they're talking about. They have to have a reasonable regulatory provision. They have to be able to do something on a public campus. The establishment of regulatory provisions that generally ban a license holder from carrying a concealed handgun on the campus of a public institution of higher education or have that same effect is prohibited. It's saying that public universities, like I said, they have to allow you to. Have to allow you somewhere on that campus to conceal carry. States a license holder, handgun holder, license holder commits a Class A misdemeanor offense if the license holder carries a partially or wholly visible handgun, regardless of whether the handgun is holstered on or about his or her body, intentionally knowingly displays a handgun in plain view of another person on the premise of or on certain streets, walkways, driveways, parking areas of a public, private, or independent institution of higher education. Intentionally carries a concealed handgun on a portion of the campus of a public institution of higher education that has adopted rules prohibiting such carrying provided effective notice is given. Or carries a handgun on the campus of a private or independent institution of higher education that has banned the carrying of handguns regardless of whether the handgun is concealed, provided effective notice is given. So if you conceal carry on campus on a public university, you need to make sure it's concealed. Alright? Basically, there's no open carry on any campus. No discussion. There's no... Public institutions, they're required to establish provisions for concealed carry only on their campus or premise. They must have signage of where, any questions at all, you can check with that institution before you arrive on campus. Some of them have, I guess they call them public safety. You can contact the administration, you can contact campus security or the campus police station, and they can inform you where you can or cannot. I don't know if they're gonna have places set up on the internet, I have to contact them about it. Carrying of handguns by a license holder on certain campuses. It's an offense if it's partially or wholly visible, intentionally displays in plain view of another person, streets, walkways, driveways, parkways, and intentionally concealed carry that has adopted rules prohibiting such carrying provided effective notice was given. Alright. I'm gonna reiterate, private universities, no open carry, no concealed carry on private universities. Public universities, concealed carry only. And they're gonna have the 30-06 signage up, designating where you can and cannot carry. Everybody understand? All right. Anybody have any questions up to this point about anything I've covered? Yes, sir.
Well, like at TJC, because you've got that public street runs down, through the middle of that campus.
Mhm.
If we're parking on that street, what applies then? Is it campus rules or state?
His question is, the public street that runs through TJC, can you leave it in your car? Is that
Leave
what
it in
you?
the car or?
That's something I don't know. You would have to contact TJC. Remember, it doesn't go into effect till almost a year later, so. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Why not private universities? Why not private universities?
Why not on private universities? I don't know the answer to that question. The only thing I can assume is that they don't receive state funding for their universities. And since this is a state law, they require that, if you receive money from the state, that they've got to have it up there. That's the only thing that I can think of. I don't know the exact answer to that. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Age misdemeanor, they can still carry guns?
Now, it's an offense if you do something with that license, what it was talking about earlier. Her question was, in reference to an earlier slide, if you had it's a Class A misdemeanor offense if you violated that particular rule, or that statute. Does that answer your question? Anybody else have any other questions?
What's the,
Hang on just a second. Yes, sir.
earlier slide, there was about not to carry, concealed carry in nursing homes, churches, and what is churches calling that?
Church, he was asking about places prohibited where you can carry a weapon. Hey, it's in the penal code on, places weapon, I thought it was 46035, I believe it was. They have them in two different sections where you can't carry in certain places, and another section where you can't carry that.
My understanding was they amended the law 2 years ago and made churches, unless they have a 30-06 sign.
Yeah, I've heard something about that, I don't know the exact answer. Okay? Are we gonna come to your church if you can't and say everybody's carrying a gun, you're going to jail? No, we're not.
Follow-up question. Assuming that it is legal in a church, who is authorized to tell you not to?
If it's legal to carry to church, or if your church votes on it, who's,
No, if there's no signage.
Right.
If there's been, but, I mean, if the pastor tells you you can't carry,
in front of the church, can you still concede forgiveness that we talked about earlier?
what level of parent authority?
What authority does the person? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the particular rule about the church yet. I haven't been able to find it. I know there's some capital grade churches that are allowing it in their church. If somebody hears from one that is doing that, you give it to this gentleman over here, and he can help you out. Yes, sir.
According to Department of Public Safety, the church does have to post the 30-06.
Okay. He's saying according to DPS, they have to post the 30-06 signage in front of the church.
So that means without those signs, it's legal.
Without those signs, it is correct, you can't carry on unless they have someone telling you each and every time.
Yes, sir.
Could you talk us through, us that don't know the legalities of carrying like another Captain Paul pistol?
I have